Welcome back to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Today is Friday, January 3rd, 2020. Ha! See, I think I might have been saying 2019 on the other shows, honestly, Mari. Anyway, but yeah, I finally got it right by the third day of the year. Not bad. I think it took me a week last year. So, yeah, tonight's show, I titled it a little interesting, right? Right. We'll get into that. James 73. We'll see, huh? I guess we'll just have to see, right? All right, let's take a look at our space weather conditions right now. Our solar wind speeds coming in at 417.4 kilometers per second with a density of 2.3. We still have a sunspot, a member of solar cycle 25. It's sunspot number 13, AR 2755, and we'll get a closer look at that when we go to the grandsolarminimum.com. So also, our TCI is sitting at a 2.66. That's up just a little bit. KPNDC is sitting at a 2 with a 24-hour max of a 3. Let's go ahead and stroll over to the grandsolarminimum.com and we'll check out our planet here and our star first. First of all, let's take a look at the planetary alignment. Look at that. I've been talking about this for a little bit. You look at this imaginary line that goes right here, right? Okay. Notice how Earth is just out here all by themselves. And that is going to cause for a weaker magnetic connection. And boy, it's going to be real bad stuff too when we get to March and April. Heads up, I'm telling you, just based on what we know and what's coming still, whether or not we get a severe cold winter, I think we can all agree that we will see some flooding like we did last year, if not worse. But anyway, let's go ahead and look at the now. Taking a look at our disk, and we do have some active regions to kind of talk about here. Let me zoom this in a little bit for us. Get the blue arrow out. And right now, this is solar cycle 25, AR 2755. We got a couple other regions right here that are kind of active. Now, what does that mean? Solar cycle 25, this is still part of solar cycle 24. So as long as we still see sunspots or active regions popping up at the same time when we have them in the lower areas, okay, that means we're still in between solar cycles. So even though we have seen sunspots from solar cycle 25 in November, December, and now January, we are still in the middle of a solar minimum that could go on for quite some time, even a couple more years before we start seeing things kind of light back up again. So I know this is a lot of action so far. It's 2020 and we don't have a day without a sunspot. But if you look at these sunspots, these are sunspot number 11, sunspot number 13, very weak sunspots, and nothing that would really... This is a typical solar minimum sunspot, in other words. These are not uncommon to see small sunspots during solar minimum. But like I was saying, if we're still seeing active regions in this area right here, that means we're still dealing with sunspots from solar cycle 25, or 24, I'm sorry. 25 solar cycle is going to be here and up here in these two regions. And why do I know this? Well, thank you to David Birch. Made up a nice little chart. And it's really easy to read as far as figuring out what cycle we're in and how can you tell, alongside of the fact that you have to have reverse magnetic polarities for this also to be a member of another solar cycle, which SPACEWEATHER.com is confirming it does have reverse polar magnetic qualities of reverse polarities. So right now, just this minor sunspot, AR 2755, and then after that, it could be quiet for quite some time. Now, we do, like I said, have some minor active regions, but usually we've seen those before they reach the eastern limb, and by the time they get to the eastern limb and start turning towards Earth, those sunspot active regions tend to go away. So we will continue to watch these and other space weather events and find out if we are actually going to see possible here. It looks like a coronal hole that could give us some problems if this continues to develop. And I don't think this is going to play for me here. It's supposed to, but it's not going to. Let's go ahead and hear SDO real quick. Yeah. So we do have a minor coronal hole that is just northeast of the region of where the sunspot is. But also, if you look just above that at the equatorial region, there is one opening up. So that one could be some issues, especially if we're looking at KP indices between 1 and 2 in a 24-hour max period. Let's get to some headlines. Not a whole lot going on today, but we'll get to what we can today. Eruption at Shashaldan volcano, ash cloud up to 24,000 feet. New eruption is taking place. Let's do this first. How about that? All right. New eruption is taking place at Shashaldan volcano, Alaska on January 3rd, 2020, with ash cloud rising to about 20 to 24,000 feet above sea level at 2100 UTC time. According to Alaska Volcano Observatory, the level of seismicity has increased to moderate levels, and several pilot observations of ash clouds have been reported to the AVO. The ash cloud is visible in satellite data and extends between 15 and 20 miles southeast of the volcano. Shashaldan remains at aviation code color orange and alert level watch. The National Weather Service has issued a segment to 7.3 kilometers, that's 24,000 feet above sea level. According to the GOES satellite imagery, it started around 1900 UTC. We'll go ahead and watch this. And when you really look at it from this distance, I mean, we're not talking about much here. I mean, this is pretty minor. But this is the third volcanic eruption in about 4 days that we've seen. So we're starting to see a little bit more increase of volcanic activity, as it's been kind of quiet lately. But these are minor eruptions, 10, 20, 24,000 feet. Thanks to the watchers again for their wonderful journalistic work, I guess I should say. And thanks for putting it together, making us aware as always. Wildfires claim 22 lives, destroyed 2.5 thousand buildings, and scorched 5.9, or I should say 15 million acres so far. Extreme fire weather warning in Australia. Brush fires have killed at least 22 people since August of 2019. Wow. Pretty misleading. I wonder if that's a misprint. Destroyed more than 2,500 buildings, including over 1,400 homes. In addition, 28 people are still missing in the state of Victoria. 500 million animals have been killed, including a third of local koala population. The fires have burned an estimated 15 million acres. The fires in Australia are huge, said Antti Lepon, a physicist and research scientist at the Finnish Meteorological Institute. Today, the area of smoke from brush fire is about wow, that's can't be right. Well, it's larger than the USA or Canada or China. That's a very large amount of area for a fire here, folks. The smoke from these brush fires is larger than the USA, Canada, or China. Interesting. Tens of thousands of people have been ordered to evacuate coastal areas in the states of Victoria and New South Wales on January 3rd, ahead of yet another weekend of extremely dangerous fire weather conditions to communities that have already experienced widespread devastation. Okay, skip past that part. Temperature across much of South Australia expected to soar above 104 degrees, and gusty winds ahead of it and behind approaching cold front that could generate areas of raised dust. That's not good. Fire dangers on January 3rd will reach extreme levels for many southern districts. That includes the Mount Lofty Ranges and Kangaroo Island. Today's fires on the Kangaroo Island were described as virtually unstoppable and worse than expected. Rescuers evacuated 200 people from a caravan park on the island after a fire broke through control lines. Saturday, January 4th is shaping up to be an extremely dangerous day across Gippsland, northeast Victoria, and right along southern coast and ranges of New South Wales, including the ACT. Conditions are set to mirror, even deteriorate beyond what those observed in New Year's Eve. Temperatures climbed to over 104, near the coast as high as 113 inland. Strong, dry northwesterly winds will cause ongoing fires to flare up yet again threatening communities that have already experienced widespread devastation. Not to minimize anything over there, but we are in the early part of the summer thus far, and if anything, 104 degrees in that region might be a little hot for this time of year, but still, it is summertime. And, you know, I can only imagine as many as times we've reported on Australia's weather, it's already hot and dry. These windy conditions are not helping. Again, our thoughts and prayers are with these folks across overseas, but don't be fooled, folks. This is not caused by global warming. And these are just extraordinary sets of weather conditions that have fueled this kind of activity, and that's it. All right, let's jump over to What's Up With That. I got a couple things to go over today from What's Up With That. Two things today from Roy Spencer. First, we'll get into the upside of more CO2, beautiful atmospheric clouds. I haven't really talked much about it because I've been trying to kind of catch up and understand what's going on with these. Slowly but surely, I'm starting to get this. The combination now, the picture is complete for me. Among the fact that we have to have temperatures in the stratosphere around negative 85 Celsius, we have more moisture also in the stratosphere. And this article kind of talks about why. But polar stratospheric cloud display, phone here, someone posted this photo to a Reddit, and this was December 31st, 2019. There's been a lot of these pictures all over the world. But Roy says increasing carbon dioxide in the atmosphere will continue to cause upper atmospheric cooling in the 2020s, which will lead to some of the most beautiful cloud displays ever witnessed by human eyes. That's a very important statement. He knows what he released today, and this was no secret on January 1st. So to be this confident and correct about cooling over the 2020s is interesting to see, especially since the information I'll show you here in a little bit. Some may say, hey, what's going on here? But I'll get into that. Along with the warming in the lower atmosphere, that more CO2 is theoretically expected to produce. Now, the upper atmosphere is supposed to cool even more strongly. For example, our satellite observations since 1979, we have observed about 3 to 4 times as much cooling in the middle stratosphere as warming in the troposphere over the last 4 decades. This cooling is expected to exist even higher up into the upper mesosphere and beyond, which is at the edge of our outer space where meteors burn up. The current record solar minimum conditions are probably also contributing to this cooling. Now, Roy Spencer is one of the most neutral people I know when it comes to climate. He doesn't want to say it's cooling or warming. He basically just reports his findings. And to see Roy make this comment right here, to me, this is a huge statement, because he does not favor one side or the other. He is just a scientist who is trying to translate the information. But good to see that Roy is including the current record solar minimum conditions. Folks, record solar minimum conditions are probably also contributing to this cooling. This is the first step in getting mainstream disclosure. Why? Roy Spencer has testified several times to Congress, and there's a lot of senators and a lot of congressmen, women, who believe that this man is sincere and truthful, and he is a trusted source. Over here, he kind of goes over some more history about the polar stratospheric clouds. Noctilucent clouds have been a lot more visual. We've seen a lot more of those, also due to a cooler atmosphere. Stratosphere is at negative 85 Celsius. TCI, the Thermosphere Climate Index, at the top is also what you would say record cold as well at 2.66. 2.05 is the record as far as Mari, I stopped for a minute. Did we have a member to announce?
No, I'm doing it.
Oh, okay, you fooled me. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, don't pay attention to the chat while you're doing whatever.
I was trying to be, you know, on top of things. I apologize.
Don't.
Anyway, so TCI, Thermosphere Climate Index, almost at record lows right now, 2.66, 2.05 set in February 2009 is the record. The stratosphere is really cold with all the moisture that we have. This is what we're getting as a result. And it's all over the Arctic right now, the north part, Sweden, Norway, up there. That's where we're seeing the most of this right now. So it'll be interesting as we continue to go through this grand solar minimum about how much further south these come. We've already seen noctilucent clouds in California and Arizona. That's an amazing feat right there. Anyway, you guys should take a look at this article here on what's up with that. And it's on Roy Spencer, of course, his website. And just a really interesting history here on what we're seeing and why we're seeing it. And it has to do a lot with cold atmosphere, lots of moisture in the atmosphere, and, you know, just a great explanation of the cooling that we're having in the atmosphere. And again, I know this is leading up towards the end, so just give me a moment. I'm getting there. I can't stand it. I'm, you know, jumping out of my shorts here about this one. But anyway, let's move on to the title. That's right. I put Hunter could go to jail. Hunter Biden goes to jail, right? Why did I say that? Why did I put that in the title? It's unfortunate because we're in the middle of election season and people will say whatever they want to say to get elected. Joe Biden. Here's Joe. Former Vice President Joe Biden claimed during a Sunday campaign event this past Sunday, "We're all dead if fossil fuels continue to be used as one of the world's primary energy sources." Earlier in the event, Biden vowed as president to hold energy giants liable for global warming and made a pledge to even jail executives. You can't make this stuff up, folks.
Set sort of guide rails on the map. So between the years 2021 and 2030, it's irreversible, the path we've set ourselves on. And one of which is doing away with any subsidies for fossil fuels, number one. Number two, holding them liable for what they have done, particularly in those cases where you're underserved neighborhoods and you know the deal. Okay? And by the way, when they don't deliver, put them in jail. That's what I've heard. I'm not joking.
I mean, Joe's got his finger out like he's shooting a gun, you know. Pew, pew. You're going to jail if you don't knock it off. And I love how the person who wrote this article here, what's up with that? I've got to say, for once, Joe Biden has shown some real balls to threaten to jail fossil fuel executives, presumably includes the current and former executives like his son, Hunter Biden, Nancy Pelosi's son, Paul Pelosi. Also, Chuck Schumer has a son that sits on a energy chair as well. And who knows how many other children of prominent Democrats who have held lucrative fossil fuel dictatorships in Ukraine and elsewhere. It takes some courageous politician to threaten jail time for his own kin and the children of some of the most political allies. Indeed. He's going to put his kid in jail. I mean, seriously, that's what he's saying, right? I mean, guys, when are we going to hold these people accountable for their idiocracies and the silliness? He's going to put energy company CEOs in jail for the cause of global warming. Well, I guess that's it. I guess, you know, tough love is what Joe Biden is trying to spread to the world. You know, I love you, son, but boom, you're going to jail because you cause global warming. Yeah, right. This guy won't even make it to the primary, so I guess I just wanted some content to talk about, and you know, I guess Hunter better get his jail clothes ready, and you know, we'll all start a GoFundMe account for Hunter so he can have money on his books and get some commissary, because you know jail food's terrible, so he'll want to get some soups and chips and, you know, phone cards to call his loved ones while his father locks him up for causing it's all ridiculous, folks. One of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard anybody say who's just trying to gain political, just trying to gain a political spot. He'll say anything. He'll jail his own kid. I'll do it. I believe him too. Seeing all the things that he said on the campaign trail. The Guardian, termination threat for employees who criticize Amazon's climate policy. When I first saw this headline, I thought, oh boy. So if you deny global warming, I guess Amazon's going to toss you right out. No, it's the opposite. It says here, Amazon has threatened to fire employees for speaking publicly about the company's role in the climate crisis. Tech workers at the retail giant have revealed. An email shared with The Guardian shows Amazon's Human Resources Department launched an investigation into one employee over comments made to the media that called for the company to do more to tackle the climate crisis. In the email, Costa is told that she will not face punishment at this point, but that any future comments unauthorized by Amazon may result in formal corrective action and to include termination of employment with Amazon. Okay, group of Amazon employees who banded together to call for stronger climate action by the company said several members have been questioned by legal and HR representatives about public comments. Some received follow-up emails similar to Costa's threatened dismissal for speaking out in the future. And some more sarcasm here from Eric Warall. I'm shocked, deeply shocked, I tell you, that anyone could accuse climate champion like Amazon of not doing everything possible to address their corporate CO2 emissions. And that's what it's about. That's what it's about, folks. They actually are upset that their own workers are accusing this giant corporation of being part of the problem. Never mind if they believe in global warming or global cooling. Amazon just doesn't want they don't want their name hurt, I guess. People might point, hey, look, these global warming nut jobs, and I call them nut jobs because they push a lie. I can see it now. Protest Amazon. They're climate deniers. They're going to fire their employees because they're asking them to do more on the climate. No, it's called disrespecting a company that pays you a good salary. Most Amazon jobs pay well. All right. You got some balls if you're going to sit there and accuse your company of not doing enough to help the climate crisis, but yet they take care of you and your family and your needs and your bills. So thanks to them, you have a job, you have a life, you're able to take care of your family or yourself alone, who knows? So it's more about a respect issue here, about, respecting your boss, there's ways to talk to your company, say, hey, listen, I'd like to request some time in an HR department, maybe speak to somebody in private about, does the company care about my future? Does the company care about the atmosphere or the environment? But going public and calling out such a giant like Amazon for their contribution to global warming or whatnot, I don't believe in it, but I'm just saying, I'm using this playing devil's advocate. This is a respect issue. Amazon's not trying to have their name slandered. They make way too much money. And like I said, I can see these global warming nut jobs trying to form protests worldwide on Amazon because they don't do enough for their environment and whatnot. So whether the company believes in it or not, it's all about that name not being slandered. And also, what a fraud that people could claim on Amazon as well. And what I mean by that is by, emitting CO2, but not doing anything to help out with the environment, but yet blah, 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 whatever. Bad idea. Don't go against your boss, especially if it's a multi-billion, trillion-dollar company, worldwide known. They're paying your bills. If you really are concerned about the environment and the climate, that's a meeting that should be happening in private. And if you want to grandstand and be prepared to face the consequences. I mean, that's the point, guys. Look, freedom of speech is one thing, but don't get butthurt if your boss gets pissed off because you're speaking out against the company as if they're part of the problem, which, I guess in their eyes they are, right? Not my problem. Speaking of frauds, though, oh boy, last night I'm watching the news channels I flip over to Fox News because I want to catch up on what's going on with there was a missile attack in Baghdad airport, and I was really curious about the situation. And this commercial comes on, and it's one of those sad song commercials that, you know, the "Say something, I'm giving up on you," you know, the real crying, whiny kind of song that tries to pull at your heartstrings. And they show a picture of the starving polar bear. And then, like, I'm looking at this and like, oh my God, they're literally begging for money and blaming global warming for killing off the polar bear population. Wow. Well, that takes some canogas. Why they matter, all this stuff. And look, guys, I'm reading through this stuff and I'm looking for like statistics on the ice that's not growing, or how many bears have starved due to climate change. Nothing like that's here. I do see the population, 22,000 to 31,000. Folks, in the 1950s, the polar bear population was around 5,000. That was an estimated number, but it was still around 5,000. Our population in the polar bears are growing. So what's with this commercial? I'm making people, oh, and here's the best part. Not the best part, but this is even more lies on their website, folks. worldwildlife.org. Okay. It says here, at the same time, the retreating ice is resulting in more polar bears spending longer periods on land. Please explain and expand, please. What is the... Okay. Anyway. Offshore petroleum installations and operations in the Arctic are expected to increase in number. This expansion would likely affect polar bears and their habitats in many ways, including the following. Contact with spilled oil would be fatal. An oil spill would affect the entire food chain. Oil spilled in part of the Arctic will not remain there and will have far-ranging and devastating effects. This website, worldwildlife.org, is doing nothing but speculating. They're speculating that there will be more oil installations up here because of the retreating ice. All right, let me ask you this. What about those expedition ships that go to the North Pole to study global warming, and then they get not even halfway there and their ship gets stuck in the ice? The ice is the ice was thicker than we expected, so we need to be rescued. How many hundreds of thousands of dollars are they wasting on these things? And the government's probably funding the expedition, folks. So your taxpayer money is going to some stuck-up snob from Sweden who thinks the world is a hothouse, and he wants to hire a boating crew, and he wants to go, sail up to the North Arctic and study global warming and the starving polar bears. But lo and behold, they can't even get halfway there because the ice is too thick. Talk about a Homer Simpson moment. But this website here is promoting that, because of the retreating ice, because of it, there's going to be more oil. Who the hell said that? Where is the source at? They don't list it. They don't give you any statistical data on why they're saying climate change is causing this. It just talks about their company and supporting it. Scientists are currently monitoring the conditions and the movement of the polar bears in the U.S., Canadian, Norwegian regions over the Arctic. WWF and our partners are working to understand the impact of different threats such as climate change, the expansion of industry in the Arctic are having on different polar bear populations. Again, when you talk about expanding industrial installations, that should be highlighted in blue and a link to the installations that have arrived recently. But you won't find that here because that's not true. Guys, I got to be honest with you. Last night, I called the 1-800 number on my screen, and I asked the lady who answered the phone for facts on this and information about this. And boy, oh boy, she's on the all you hear on the phone is just, well, I'm looking for it right now. Hold on a second. Yeah, it says right here, polar bears dying because of man-made global warming. Yeah, they're starving. Oh my. It's probably on the website too. All I was asking was for the raw numbers and the data, right? She couldn't give me anything. She couldn't give me a study or a graph or a chart that showed the warming or what. So I spit some real knowledge on her. I was like, listen, since 1989, we've only warmed 1 degree Fahrenheit, 1 degree Celsius in 30 years. 1 degree, if that, okay? And scientists have been predicting for years that we're going to be at that 3 degrees Celsius mark or 6 degrees Fahrenheit. That's not happened. I said in 1950, we had 5,000 polar bears estimated. Now we have over 30,000. And then she goes, well, some of the polar bear breed is doing good, but there's other polar bear breeds that are not doing good. And I said, well, what breeds are those? She goes, I don't know. You're going to have to contact member services. I said, can I have that number? She goes, yeah, hold on. Yeah, you're going to have to call member services if you want to get information. Hold on. So I called back because she hung up on me. And another lady that answered, she sounded like she could have been my great-grandmother. But that's the thing. These organizations, they don't hire anybody who would think about going outside the lines. These are older folks who are retired. This is a part-time job. Hell, it sounded like they actually take the phone calls in their bedroom or their kitchens where they're finishing up dishes and stuff. But they have no information. They can't tell you anything about why and how or the numbers or nothing. They don't know. And I said, you guys are committing fraud. You'll just have to take that up with member services. I called member services and it was closed. Guys, I'm telling you right now, I posted a number on my Twitter. I'll post it in the community. I want everybody to call the headquarters. I think it's really important that this worldwidewildlife.org should have actual statistics about what they're claiming here. I want to see the numbers on how many polar bears are dead because of global warming. I want to know the exact number of polar bears that have died because they can't find food. I want to know the reason why it's bad for a polar bear to be on land for a long period of time versus ice. Oh, and by the way, this is the current picture of the ice right now, folks. That orange line is the average. So yeah, there's a couple of areas that probably could be filled in a little better. But for the most part, there's a lot of ice in the Arctic, all right, within these boundaries here. And I'll show you something else too. Let's back up. They like to show this one the most. This is from November. Oh, look how weak and puny it is. I mean, you got this right here isn't even full. All right, look at that. Empty ice, no ice here. Oh, God, a huge hole there. This is what they like to show on the front page of this website. But I like to look at the now. I don't dwell on the past. That was November. This is today. Huge difference, folks. Look at this. It's full. That's completely full now. This is almost full. These boundaries are almost full. Again, it's only January 3rd. There's people out there who are already canceling the grand solar minimum because it's been mild in some areas. Give me a break. Speaking of that, let's go over here to Dr. Roy Sprinzer here. Let's take a look at his handy dandy chart. I love the first of every month because I can't wait for these numbers. And I gotta be honest with you, I was like, what? What's going on? Why is this happening? 0.56 in December, up 0.01 from November, right? I mean, think about it. This is a year of record low solar output, right? 281 days without sunspots. TCI is at near space age record lows. The stratosphere has got polar stratospheric clouds showing up, like a turd in a punch bowl right now in the sky. And yet we're still showing a warmer month of December. Well, hang on to your hats, folks. My friend the Starman also tried to help me understand as well. We had some warm ocean waters in the Pacific this year, very warm water. We also had an El Nino this year. And also something about the tilt and the approach to the sun being its closest on January 5th, and after the 5th, we're supposed to start moving further away. How much do you want to bet we see February, March, and April really cold? Lots of snow. Still January, we're still going to see spotty storms. But I'm looking at all these factors, and I know that we get a delayed effect from the sun when it comes to certain things like El Nino. We're still feeling the effects from warmer temperatures in the ocean from El Nino. And this reminds me of 2015 when we had the last El Nino. Now that was a lot stronger, but when we were talking about 60 degrees in Cleveland, Ohio, wearing shorts on December 15th, well, December 29th, wearing shorts in Cincinnati, I'm sure, watching the same football game at the end of December. What does the 2 years have in common? We both had El Ninos. Now, I'm no charts guy here, but if I had to follow trends, we are peaked out. We are getting ready to witness another drop before we get another increase. SUBSCIBESTAR already called it. He said this was going to be the next plateau of temperatures. I believe him. It's a very easy thing to see this graph continue to go down, stay around here for a while, shoot back up to here, climb down slowly. You're still talking about that plateau. Folks, we know how cold it gets when it's right here. Okay, we just lived it through 2017 and 2018 and 16. In fact, let's go to that stat too, because that's the next one. A lot of people are like, okay, wait a minute. What? And let me bounce back here. Apologize, folks. So Roy also put this graph together for us to help us understand what's happening, okay? You can't see it. Yeah, I just messed it up. All right, let's just do this instead. I'll zoom this in a little bit. 2016, the warmest year during the 41 years of the space age record. 2019, now interesting to also note, guys, 1998 was also part of a solar minimum. So interesting to see it the second warmest year on record. And I bet you we find that there was an El Nino in that period as well. 2019, I really thought that 2019 was going to be somewhere around here. Okay, and I remember showing you guys this last year where it showed 2018 here, 2017. Look, the trend is down. 2019, if it continues, should be here, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we didn't take in consideration for the El Nino. We didn't take in consideration, especially, and this is what I'm really getting at with this whole tilt thing, the last 3 months. Look at the temperatures that we've seen since, what, October? Okay, so since September. That's when we first started seeing the spike. Really, in June. So if you go back June, July, August, this is what I'm looking at. 0.47, 0.38, 0.39, 0.62, 0.46, 0.55, 0.56. January, hey, I'll go out right now and say 0.58, 0.59, maybe even a 0.60 for January. But I bet you February, as we pull away from the sun, as we continue to get deeper into a solar minimum, which by April of 2020 is when we're supposed to see the peak of this minimum. And when I mean peak, I mean the lowest of low and the most increased cosmic ray counts that we've seen to date. But I'm willing to bet, based on the trends and the information that I have in front of me, yeah, we'll probably see another mild month up until midpoint January through the 22nd. Late January, we'll probably start seeing some really cold Arctic air, and I'll show you that here in a little bit. And I've been saying this since December. We're not going to see the real serious cold until middle of January and beyond. And so far, that's holding up. But for anyone out there who's seen the report today, if you look at the trends, what goes up must come down. I highly doubt we're going to see this number just continue to go up and up and up. The way things work, peak, drop, climb, maintain, drop, peak, drop, climb, drop, climb, maintain, slowly go up. And we had a strong El Nino plus the solar maximum. So that has a delayed effect. 2015 was the maximum sunspot output from 2014 and 2015. So that's delayed into 2016. That's why I believe that we're going to see a pretty decent drop here for 2020 as the months move by. And we could be talking about 0.2 something by July of this summer 2020. So again, this is a slow process. Nobody ever from this channel has ever said that this was going to be a over the night type of cooling event. Cooling is decadal. We all know that. We're in the beginning of a grand solar minimum. Yes, solar cycle 25 will begin, and yes, there will be a max, but a max of 115, that's the peak. And I've seen other predictions in the 90s and even in the 60s. So that's not even half. That's not even 40%. That's not even 60%, 40% of last solar cycle. It's merely a third of what we saw in solar cycle 24. So again, this takes time. We've seen some freakish cold weather. Hell, this fall started off with a 4-foot snowstorm in Montana in September. Okay, the snow arrived early, just like it did in Australia, and we're not out of the woods yet, folks. We've had September, October, November, cold months, and snow. December and January are indicating that we could see temperatures slightly above average in most spots. And also, the Northeast, the Northern Plains, and the Northwest are experiencing the most cold right now. And that's what's happening. But that could change very, very, very soon. Within the next 3 weeks, tops. But again, I advise everybody to take a look at royspencer.com and check out the report for yourself. He posts the raw numbers every month, right around the 1st. But believe it or not, 2019, one of the warmest on the space age record. So we'll see what happens in 2020. I doubt we're going to see record-breaking numbers for warmth. I really do. But I could be wrong. But I just, again, by looking at this trend here, we're due to start seeing some downward stuff here. And especially since our planet is not going to be orbited as close to the sun with its tilt, that is going to play a factor as well, guys. So we will continue to cover this because there's very relevant things still. Look, bottom line, we got a lot of moisture to deal with right now. Even if it doesn't snow as much this winter, we've got a lot of gigantic systems that are going to continue to batter the U.S. Snow in some parts and rain in others, okay? So it doesn't really matter as far as temperatures right now because it's going to be cold. It's going to be winter, even if it's not record-breaking. I feel like we're going to see some really cold stuff, though, late January, all of February, and then into March, and even winter-like conditions through April. So that's my prediction for the rest of this winter. So I'll eat my favorite Cleveland Browns hat if that doesn't happen. That's how confident I am on that one. Let's go ahead and take a look at the GFS outlook for you guys on our weather map. And thank you to Mari for making this lovely cloud scene for us as we look at the weather. This is pretty nice, actually. I like it. So starting back, well, that's too far up. Here we are this weekend. We've got a system coming out of the Gulf, and I was looking at this on the radar, and let's see if the radar will even work for us. Of course it's expired. And let's see. I'm having troubles lately getting this thing into motion. Probably because it's on the Weather Channel. Oh, just kidding, Weather Channel. I did see something interesting at the bottom of one article. They were talking about mild conditions. At the very bottom of the article, it said this story in no way, shape, or form represents the beliefs at the IBM company. The IBM company is the weather company that does the research for the Weather Channel. And last year in some of their articles, they actually were stating that solar activity is the reason why we were seeing such, or low solar activity was the reason why it was so cold last January and last February. So that's the first time I've ever seen a mainstream weather media actually admit that solar forcing had something to do with the climate. But here we are looking at our current system that's bringing lots of rain. It's just pulling it right out of the Gulf of Mexico. And to me, it just looks like an endless line of moisture that's streaming northeast and is slowly moving northeast-east. Not very much, though. I mean, Birmingham has been getting pounded all day. Finally, the rain is lifting out. It's 9:15. But all day long today, we have seen rain across Alabama, Mississippi. Hattiesburg is now finally getting out of the heavy showers. But let's move up and see where this system is going to be at as well tonight. Here's a current look at our radar. And as you see, lots of rain, some strong line of storms here on the East Coast, right here. All right, let's move back out a little bit more. And that just froze up on me. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and go back to our weather outlook, folks. You get the picture here. The GFS is showing exactly what's happening right now. This system is moving up into the northeast. Now, temperatures are not too crazy cold out there, but Western New York, like Buffalo and Toronto, you guys will probably see some snow. Some mixed precip in the Ohio Valley into West Virginia. That moves off into the east by Sunday. And then another quick hitter here for the state of New York and Erie, PA. Light snow, possibly 1 to 2 inches of snow. And then Tuesday into Wednesday gets interesting. A snowstorm is possible for the northeast. Folks in Cincinnati, Dayton, Columbus, also watch out for some mixed weather precipitation. But this thing kind of gets its act together here on Wednesday morning. And it's a quick mover, but right now, they're calling for 3 to 6 inches of snow in the capital region of New York, and that's likely to follow suit for Vermont and New Hampshire. And then as it gets up into Maine, we'll probably see some localized 8 to 12 inches of snow by Wednesday up near the northern parts of Maine, and just some more light snow across the state of New York, probably lake effect. And my guess is that it won't reach most of the state like GFS is indicating, but it's possible. So look out for Tuesday into Wednesday if you live in the upstate New York region, western Pennsylvania, West Virginia. Snow showers continuing overnight Tuesday into Wednesday morning. Could bring anywhere from 3 to 6 inches in New York, 1 to 3 inches in the Pennsylvania region, maybe an isolated 2 to 4. This is a quick hitter, not that much, but it is going to be shovelable. Shovelable. Mario, whatever emoji that is, please use that for shovelable. Whatever word that is. Friday, January 10th, a low pressure system is located up near Canada. It's going to bring rain to the majority of the Midwest, Ohio Valley. Wisconsin will see some snow from this. But according to GFS, we are riding what they call a ridge. Okay? So more of that ridge and fridge. The ridge is going to be in the 30s and 40s, which will bring us rain. And then behind it, the cold air will be surging behind it, but will there be enough moisture left by the time this cold air comes through? And right now it's showing up on the back edge of this snowstorm. By January 11th, I think this will be a bigger snow event for Maine than it will be any part of the Northeast. And then, boy, look at the Northwest. January 12th, lots of snow in Oregon and Washington, Northern California, more rain to that area. And let me tell you something, the moisture over there, I know it's the rainy season, but good grief. January 13th, we've got a pretty big low pressure system setting up across the region. It's going to bring rain and snow and ice in the northeast. More heavy snow for Minnesota, North Dakota, Wisconsin is possible, Nebraska, Iowa. And this system moves out, and that brings in even colder air by January 15th. We are dodging some major bullets here in the northeast and the east coast, guys. We get these storms that are on the front edge of the warmer air, which the warmer air is in the upper 30s and low 40s. So that doesn't even get close to freezing rain. It's just all rain, but more saturation to the soil. And then after this storm, we bring in the cold air.
Okay, I don't know.
The music's too loud.
I don't know.
There's no music.
Maybe I'm crazy.
Oh, maybe I'm crazy.
Maybe they're crazy.
All right. Stop paying attention in the chat, Mari. Interrupting my show. I'm just kidding. So cold air, January 16th, sinking all the way down to the south. North Carolina, South Carolina. Looks like a little bit of a mess in Canada. And then one of these sneaky surprise systems try to move through on January 19th. And then a low pressure system in the southwest and the Four Corner states will form. And that could be the potential for the next big one by January 19th, 2020. And according to this map here, we are seeing some indications that the cold air is going to be a part of our forecast moving forward. And just look at this. You got to look at it, guys. Taking a look here at January 3rd, that Arctic cold air trying to push into lower 48. This is January 7th. Again, it's not like it's like 78 degrees outside. We're talking 30s and 40s, 50s along the East Coast and in Florida. But for the most part, it's just slightly above average as far as cold goes. That Arctic air is trying to filter in through Canada into the upper Great Lakes, the northern plains as well. And then as we continue to roll forward, there's that last big ridge that I think we'll see for the month of January. Look at that Arctic air pushing down southward. Continues to push forward. Look at this. By January 12th, January 13th, look at that. Half of the country in a deep freeze. And looks like one more ridge on the 14th. I misspoke on the ridges. But look at this. By the 15th, some serious cold Arctic air moving into the northern plains and the upper Great Lakes. And look out by the 16th of January, same thing, overnight lows in the northeast, upstate New York will represent single digits and below zeros. And why not? It's late January, mid-January. So I'd like to take a look at this image here. Let's take a look from the, let's go North America. Here we go. So I've been kind of talking about this, where this bright pink was all building up over here, and I was talking about how this was slowly going to filter down. And the rotation of this right now looks like if there is a majority of an extended cold blast, it's not going to last so much over here, but I think the Northeast and Midwest, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and the Northeast, I think we could see some serious rotation here of some Arctic cold air from late January through maybe all of February. But if we watch kind of how this thing moves over the past several days, I mean, clearly we can see there's a retreat and then there's an expansion as well. Let's take a look at one more region outlook on this. This should really do it here. Okay, that's what I want to see. Because I want to see what's on the other side of the Arctic. And are we getting more Arctic air building up? Is it going to continue to feed? And I'm going to have to say yes. And what I'm looking at right here is the cold air that's still here. Is that going to continue to feed this? Right now, it looks like it is. Now remember, all this bright pink and purple was over here. Still cold over here, guys. Still frigid. Still Arctic air. But watch this region here continue to funnel the Arctic air into Canada as it's trying to make its way into the United States. And let's say this too, guys. Right now, we don't have any indications that we're going to see a Greenland block. And boy, I tell you, I just watched a pretty good size of that Arctic air trying to push down here. So I do believe this continues. We'll continue to see this snake down into Canada, but it's still early, guys. But just watching the patterns here and watching what's been going on over the past several months, this area was all bright pink here and then just normal Canadian cold. But since the last 3 weeks, we've seen this Arctic air expand even further south. And, you know, word on the streets, the UK, middle of January, late January, that's also when we're starting to expect more cold conditions and possibly getting some snow going for us in the near future. So other than that, that is what I've got to report on tonight as far as our weather and grand solar minimum headlines. Mari, did you want to speak to our... I did see, though, did we get some new members on this new feature that... let me tell you something, guys. Okay. Mari amazes me. And I say this because I didn't know anything about this, but there is actually a new feature on YouTube. Mari, I'm going to let you better explain this because you're the one that's done all the work. You understand it way better than I do.
Yeah, the membership, it's just like a paid subscriber mode on
like Patreon?
YouTube, which basically turns YouTube into its own version of Patreon.
Awesome.
So we are beta testing this new feature. I'm excited about it because anything I can do to sort of consolidate things. YouTube, I would say, is our main platform. Although it's hard to say because all the other platforms have their own. It's hard to gauge. It seems like Facebook's more active. But with YouTube, the memberships, it's just a cool, neat feature that essentially turns YouTube into Patreon, where we can add different levels and show, see, this is the music that they're talking about. like, you weren't supposed to use this today. It's not ready to go.
Oh, I apologize.
Sorry, Jake.
We'll mute that.
People were like, I like that. I'm like, I have no idea. I'll probably get a copyright strike. Just using sound, like, cloud clips. Anyway, so today I worked on establishing the membership program. There are some kinks I need to fix. Like, some of the features, you get badges depending on how long you've been a member of the channel. They also offer special emojis for the channel members, which I am testing out as well. And I am going to have to troubleshoot that with YouTube directly, because the quality of I don't know, they just seem a little pixelated for what they actually, they're very high resolution photos that I sent them, and it just, I'm not happy. One of the emojis is Jake making a really silly face.
Mario was like, send me a picture.
Just... LOL. And I figured people could use that every time he botches up like a city name. Yeah. Or, you know, you have a blooper.
Use that emoji when I mess up.
Any blooper moments that you feel Jake has, throw up the Jake emoji into the chat. However, they are small, and I'm going to provide feedback with YouTube. Hopefully we can get that fixed. It's a new thing. So YouTube so far has been pretty responsive to concerns of creators. I'm staying positive. We've had some censorship issues, but as I've observed and stood back, we were really scared last month about the new rule changes, and me assessing it, I'm okay. I'm feeling a little bit better about it.
They wouldn't offer this.
We'll see. So, I don't know. There's different level memberships. We're going to be doing blooper reels. We're going to be doing outtakes and all that.
Maybe we'll do a video where it shows me broadcasting and what actually...
I have video of Jake on the phone with the wildlife, whatever you call it, the WWF. Of course, Matt Bros was talking about wrestling.
Wrestling.
And anyway, where am I? Also, I have adjusted the levels for the YouTube membership, and I will also make it match Patreon. It's going to just take me a little bit to do it, because the blooper reels and the outtakes and all that, I think would be really fun. We're full of them, and it will just be fun. So if you don't see it on Patreon right now, and you'd rather be on Patreon instead of YouTube, don't worry, it will be there. So let's start off. Geo did a super chat. Thank you very much, Geo. And then let's give shout outs to our new
Wolf Pup, Brandon.
Wolf Pup is Jessica.
Okay, Jessica is a member. Brandon, thank you for joining.
Brandon.
And then we have we had who's Knife Collector,
who I'm going to be making a mod on our GSM website.
And we just got a new one too, Marie Mitchell. So the first night we roll out the paid membership, we've got 4 new members. We really appreciate it. And hopefully, guys, I think this is going to be a lot like, okay, so the Patreon is cool and we still love it and we're still going to do it.
It's not like our home.
But we can't integrate some things like we're doing here on YouTube.
Home. It's the home of GSM.
I'm going to say this. YouTube is doing a better job at trying to make this more creator friendly. Things like this, giving special emojis, badges.
I was dump with YouTube.
Yeah,
to be honest,
really kind of turned around lately.
I had some bleak moments where I'm like, "This is the end. This is it."
No, we're not going anywhere.
Because if you look at the other GSM channels, it's sort of alarming. You know, their just views compared to ours. There's something wonky going on with our view counts where it's just, something's not right. So it made me sort of hopeless. But when they offered this new thing to us to try, I'm like, all right, well, maybe things aren't that bad. Maybe we can keep chugging at it. It is challenging doing this part-time between kids and work and all that. And we would love to do this full-time. And you guys are our viewers. And if you like, I know you guys have seen the good stuff, what we are capable of doing. So if you become a member or a Patreon, it just helps us sort of dig in deeper and do what we really want to do with this channel and make time to actually do it. It's sort of easy to not want to do stuff when there's not anything in
motivation.
You just feel like you're talking to a wall and you're not getting anywhere. So my goal this year for our channel is to really build the community up. And I know a lot of people hate Facebook, but our Facebook group has grown tremendously, and it's full of really great articles and discussions. I can't even keep up with all the discussions that are going on in our Facebook group, but moving people into a central area and all the members in the Patreon is going to help us build this community on thegrandsolarminimum.com, where we can get together all the climate experts, get your
Geo85 says he's not joining because he has commitment issues.
We respect.
That's awesome.
Whatever. It doesn't
Whatever
matter.
works for you, brother.
We're just glad you're here. Trust me.
I mean, I think the number one goal in 2020, I think the main goal is we want to expand and reach out to more people. We love our GSM community. We love our GSM family. And we feel like that more people need to know about this and need to be more aware. And with a group of people like you who are constantly here in the chat and having conversations about Grand Solar Minimum and talking about different ideas, this to me is one of the best channels for anyone who's new to the topic to come watch a live feed like this and interact with some of the people who are in the chat who have been also researching and following this content for a long time. So again, I'm really excited about 2020.
I am, and the whole community part is really important because one person alone isn't going to be able to come up with all the solutions. It takes many minds and many people working together to come up with solutions, discuss challenges and how to overcome them, and also reaching out on a broad spectrum to local governments, starting things in your own community. Perhaps we can grow to the point where you can host your own community group on our website and have a safe haven for you guys to go and organize things locally, whether it's prepping. We have a great program here. What is it? Is it like it's like the Adirondacks? It's not woodworking, but it's like trades. Do you remember that?
I think I know what you're talking about.
All right, I'll have to talk about that. But skills like making like this catalog that we have a group here that has classes that does old-fashioned skills like tool making, welding, soap making, candle making, weaving, just interesting things to give you ideas. There's a lot of resources out there, and there's also a lot of things that we could do as a group to sort of grow awareness and maybe make people have a different mindset in reusing and learning the old skills, the old-fashioned ways, learning skills from prepping and tricky stuff like canning, because you can really get yourself poisoned if you don't can things properly. We actually have a lady that's sometimes in the chat that does canning, that actually holds classes in her location on how to can. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. I
want to see if maybe she can send me a message and we can arrange for her to do a little video to show people how to do that. We got it. We're a community. We're all here. Everyone, whether or not you're into science, gardening, farming, you're just interested in the topic, everyone can benefit from one another. So I'm excited to grow and invest into the website because all of your contributions and all of your support is getting sunk right into that. And then we're going to also have the 800 number going soon too, right?
Yeah, we got to get the call-in show back again. We had a lot of fun with that. Jesse, we missed talking to you. Richard, we missed talking to you as well. Matt, Cheryl, our normal call-in folks. We have not forgotten that. That show is not gone. We just have a little bit of retooling to do here. So we're almost to the point where we're ready to relaunch that. But it will be back again this month. And we appreciate all the Patreon members who are staying patient during this time of what I call retooling as well. But guys, I'm showing you, if you like this channel and you want to support us further, go to our Teespring shop. Mario will have the link in the description. Guys, there's a lot of great merch here. T-shirts, socks, hoodies, even coffee mugs and socks. My goodness, Mari thought of it all. Stickers, posters, you name it. What better way to support a channel that helps spread information and truth than to have their merchandise and then wear it out in public? I mean, people get curious. What's GSM? Best way to spread the word about a topic on a t-shirt, on a bumper sticker, on a hat.
There's actually some member levels that come with stickers and t-shirts as well. True.
Mari, do you have those member levels right with you before we head off the air? And
I'm going to do a separate video giving a full rundown and explanation of everything. Because basically I'm spending some time just this week and next week sort of retooling things so I can lay the groundwork for going forward into next year. We're going to take what we did last year and just make it better, make better improvements, and make things a little bit easier for us.
I like it.
To manage.
I like it a lot.
It's tricky juggling 18 gazillion social media accounts. So there's going to be much more to come. I have 2 videos coming out about the membership program.
Mari, I gotta brag. This is probably my favorite hoodie that you designed. If anybody wants to buy me a birthday present, I wear extra large, and this color would just do fine.
I just said the other day you look good in blue, and it has a little bit of sky
It's got a little
blue
bit of
in
it, but sharp looking hoodie there.
Is that a big hint for me, Jake?
What? Anybody, I'm just saying. January 22nd. All right. So that's going to do it for us tonight, guys. Thank you once again for tuning into the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Mari, did you have anything else before we left? You got all your notes?
I said hi, I said thank you and hi to everyone. Okay. I think, well, I didn't say hi to everyone, but hello, everyone.
Hello. And guys, I appreciate it for the patience. It's been a wonky schedule here over the holidays, but New Year's and Christmas is over. We're back on our regular schedule, so I will do a show tomorrow night too.
Are you? Because I was also going to offer maybe having the live chat open and just.
I was thinking about doing like a 20-minute update maybe on the weather and stuff like that tomorrow night. So it'll be later in the evening though. And then Monday we'll go back to our regular schedule, morning and then an evening show. Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning and evening, Thursday morning, and then again on Friday. Right now we're tentatively working out the details, but it looks like Lee Wheelbarger will be joining us next Friday, January 10th, 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
He was just in the chat tonight.
Yes, he was.
Lee.
So Lee and I were talking on the side, and he thinks he might be free. So right now, tentatively speaking, Mr. Lee Wheelbarger will be with us next Friday night. So guys, you don't want to miss that. We'll be talking Grand Solar Minimum, climate, and we might even dig a little deeper into these stratospheric clouds and why we are seeing the temperatures on the UAH where they are right now, because I gave a vague description, so there's more to talk about with that. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Take care to everyone who came out tonight and joined us in the new paid subscription. We just got that rolled out tonight. And GWA85, thank you very much.
Thanks again. You did it. You did $5.
Yeah, but that one's for the hoodie, so put it towards the hoodie. So thank you very much, sir. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you for tuning in. We hope everyone has a great Friday night, and we will talk soon tomorrow evening. Take care, guys.
Do you like this show? Give us a thumbs up. Want to support us more? Share to your favorite social media platform. Buy a t-shirt or become a Patreon. All links are in the description below.